Zachary here from Solex Thermal Science. I am your host, as usual, for another episode of The Exchange. And as we like to say, today is a good day because we have two very special guests, one of which is Rich Barton. We'll get a little bit into what Rich does. And another will be a familiar face for you guys. His name's Stan Pala. He's here at Solex. So, gentlemen, thanks for lending me some of your time today. Stan, you're the global director, sales director here at Solex, primarily focused on oilseeds. But give a little bit more background on your time here at Solex and what you do.
My background is in heat transfer. Currently, I'm based in Europe, and as you said, I cover oilseeds application from the global perspective, trying to help our clients to achieve best results and also save some of energy.
And now our featured guest, Rich Barton. Rich is the president over there at Hunt Moore. Rich, your company's been around in one form or another for about 70 years. I know you've told me you guys like to kind of casually refer to yourself as oilseeds are us, but I know it's a lot more involved in that. So rather than me talking, tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Yeah, so we primarily have represented international technologies companies here in the United States and by extension into Canada. And then that has translated into what we do at Hunt Moore as well, which is equipment sales, engineering, primarily process engineering. And we do a lot of work in process safety management as well.
Well, I feel I got the two right guys here to talk about what we are going to chat about, and that's primarily around heat recovery. And just, Rich, for our viewers' sake, you're coming to us from Portland today. Stan, you're coming to us, is that right? Yeah, Portland, did I get that right?
Yeah, Portland, Oregon, yeah.
Yeah. Stan, you're coming to us from Prague, and I'm here in Calgary. So this is truly an international episode of The Exchange. So that's exciting in its own right.
Waste energy can generally be characterized, I think, as those streams which have a heat value and that are not being reused for a purpose in which there's a good balance, between that source and a sink for that heat.
Over the years, we've seen that many of our clients were focusing on the, let's call it low-hanging fruits that kind of allow, and especially on the preparation side, to recover up to 1/3 of the energy that is needed for let's say optimum processing. It means for increasing of the temperature and reduction of the moisture, but at the same time, with, let's say, the latest development on the global markets, and obviously there are regional differences, but about the latest development of the natural gas price and but in general energy price, I think there are still many plants or clients that we can share the knowledge with and help them to reduce the energy consumption and help with the processing margins.
Solex has been successful in implementing projects that are recovering that low-hanging fruit. They are, let's say, fairly obvious sources. They could be the capturing of heat from steam condensate. They could be capturing heat from a waste, not a waste, but an airstream where that heat is just going out, and that Solex has found a way to capture that. On our side of it, we've implemented one or two projects where we realized that there was heat going to condensers in extraction that could in turn be used in extraction but simply by installing pre-condensers. And so on this higher level that Stan is speaking to, the discussions that he and I have had, before today's exchange meeting, is the possibility of looking at extraction and a couple of processes in extraction as being the heat source for a process that happens in the preparation plant. This is a higher level thinking, and it's new that, in the sense that people don't generally associate using something in extraction as a heat source for something in prep.
It's gonna be perfect solution for Canada, because it's when we talk about the different grades of waste heat, this one is especially very low grade heat, and that usually everybody would say, okay, it's not worth recovering, it's too low temperature, it doesn't make sense. But obviously, if in Canada, when the seeds can be on very cold, especially in the winter, we're talking about -10, -20 degrees. Obviously, that delta T between of the hot water from the condenser and that product, it makes very interesting alternative, let's say, for additional heat recovery. I think it's a right time now, and obviously to follow the corporate goals, it kind of forced them to look into the projects that obviously might have in the past had a little bit longer payback time, but with the latest development on the energy market, I think it's becoming very, very interesting. But it's not only about the I would say waste heat recovery, but it's an overall picture how to source the energy, what will be the primary source of the energy. We see the big influence basically to kind of divert from natural gas, because especially in Europe it might be missing quite soon, and just not talking about the price itself, but about availability of the gas. So again, like electricity is becoming prevalent, and biomass and other kind of like more greener sources of not just the fossil fuels. Frankly speaking, the oilseeds processing is a highly energy intensive process, and the heat needs to be added into the process. So we need to be looking into the source of the energy, and obviously how much we can recover that waste heat.
But what about those soft influences? So something that's not maybe a financial return, but more of part of a company wanting or needing to, because their stakeholders are demanding it, to meet climate and sustainability goals. Is it fair to say that is also a factor that is driving the desire to recover waste energy?
I think Stan and I would agree that it is, Jamie. Almost all of the major processors have a statement that addresses energy savings, that addresses carbon emissions, that addresses greenhouse gases and what their goals are. And independent of government influences, I think that it's a cultural decision, within each of those corporations, of how they're going to make those decisions based upon what they see as the worldview of are we able to keep feeding the world and treating the world kindly at the same time. A lot of these suppliers who build extraction plants, they have kind of cookie cutter approaches, if you will.
Okay.
So it doesn't allow the opportunity for innovative companies like Solex, like in Huntmore, to come in and find pieces where we can actually, lower that operating cost and improve the life cycle of the plant because of, our solutions.
For me, it's a question where our responsibility ends, and I feel that it's our responsibility as suppliers to share that knowledge and to help those companies to obviously to increase their profit, obviously in the first place, but obviously it's also our responsibility, if we have that knowledge and technology, to help, let's say, environment with the reduction of the energy consumption and obviously the carbon emissions.
I think you have a good point there. It's our responsibility in a worldview to give them better solutions. It's also a responsibility to our shareholders, if you have shareholders in a company, because you and I are in the business of trying to make a profit on what we do. Our customers are in the business of trying to make a profit in what they do. And so, yeah, if we can be a vehicle there to give them better solutions, then it's not only a responsibility, it's an opportunity, at the same time. Certainly we have, I'm going to say temporary influences, such as what we're going through right now, that are driving energy costs crazy. Mm-hmm. And without enumerating those, we know that those things happen. So our customers, the processors, how do they look at that long term? Do they look at an investment simply based upon what's happening now, or what almost in an actuarial situation of what's going to happen in the future? Sure. Right? And so that's going to drive some of their, I think, purchase decisions. Then the other influence, somewhat true, I believe, in Canada, as well as it certainly is true here, is the government administration. One administration having a focus, perhaps, on addressing greenhouse gases and carbon emissions and regulations to seek more energy savings solutions. Whereas the next administration throws all of that out of the window and says, no, we don't need that. And so, that's another thing that influences that pendulum of where does a company, spend their money?
I love ending these things with something I liked, something I learned from today. Generally I like the discussion. I'm glad that we're able to I know it was a short discussion. This is a big meaty topic. I learned the challenges that companies might have when there's changes in governments and the goalpost keeps on changing. So, Rich, I really appreciate that perspective and how challenging that might be for companies to figure out what that crystal ball is going to look like in a couple of years. So that was fantastic. Rich, if people want to keep in touch with what you're up to, where would you send them to? I imagine your website.
Yeah, our website, which is a very simple website, not complicated at all. And it's, of course, www.nhmore.com. Not nhmore, nhmore.com. Awesome. And they can certainly reach me at a very hard email address, which is rich, R-I-C-H, @nhmore.com.
I do want to thank both of you for your time. I know, Stan, it's getting a little late there. I know, Rich, you're on the road actively helping your clients. So I do appreciate you squeezing a little bit out of your guys' schedules to chat today.